we are. You saw us in the beginning standing in this garage slot, and now we have a finished podcast studio. Let's take a look. We've got the equipment. Joaquin's put that together for you. You're going to be able to get some feedback on that. We've got the garage door up to let some light in. Come on in. Let's close the garage door on, and I'll talk to you about how I'm going to use this thing. As you can see, the podcast studio is now loaded for bear and it's ready to go. And how am I going to use this podcast studio? Well, initially, I was thinking about just doing some podcasts because of River Island Project and being able to do chef interviews and things of that nature as we build the Redwood Cafe and continue to tell that story. But I've got a book coming out that I might not have talked to you guys about. And when that book comes out, there'll be interviews and podcast interviews, so I can use this podcast studio to conduct those interviews, let other individuals know what's going on. And then I decided I want to start doing podcasts about the travel company. We've got a lot of stuff to share with me and Lino and what's going on our world tours. I've got the building of the Redwood Cafe, as I just mentioned. We're going to be recording that. I also have other interests that I basically want to share with you as we go on in these podcasts. So we're going to have a regular podcast. It's going to have different subjects on it. So as we do interviews and share with other podcasters, it's going to be a great tool. How do you like it? I think it came out fantastic, and we're already starting to shoot some podcasts. One of the first ones they'll do, I've got my sister coming along here, and she's going to basically do one for herbs. So here I am inside the chair of power here, I guess is what you would call it. So what we got is we got 3 cameras up here for 3 different angles. So I've got a camera that focuses on me when I look straight at it, like I'm looking at you right now. And then I've got a center camera that basically looks this way. And then we've got a camera that goes to the other chair and focuses on that. So it's all hooked up in a really professional way. As you can see, the lighting. Now, what we can do on the lighting, as an example, we've got a really nice lighting setup here. I've got the control here. Let me see if I can share this with you. And it's got the software on it right here.
Go to this one right here.
And then turn it on.
Click on that one. There you go. Now you can control each one individually.
So I don't really want to do that though.
Hit the last one.
What I want to do is I want to control all of them. So like basically what you can see is we can bring the light up. We can bring the light down. So in all, then we have individuals that if he takes the camera and shows you the lights that we've got up here, take a look at that. And then you can see me playing with the lighting adjustments on that. We have the acoustical material up on the ceiling for good sound quality, which I think was a great decision. I've got my little table here in front of me, and the microphone just swings out, and it's right here in the center part. On a technical standpoint, we can run up to 8 cameras on this system, and the audio can switch between those as well. So it's a really nice, it's called the A10. I think Joaquin's going to get a little bit more involved with you on that. But it's been a great journey building this podcast studio. I kind of love the outlook of it. And when you see the way that the cameras are mounted onto an actual cart, we can move this system to the next room, out on the back deck, wherever we want to do it to change our backdrops. So we've got like, in this area right here, I think I have my main office with just one studio. I have the conference room, which is a second studio. I have this, which is a third studio. We have an outdoor setting on the deck with a 4th studio. So we've got all kinds of backdrops and things that we made ourselves versatile to basically use a podcast studio and reach out to the world and hopefully share some insights that people enjoy hearing about and enjoy watching. So my little buddy Joaquin is sitting next to me over here recording this. He's a video professional. Basically, he's a professional in a lot of stuff, but videoing right now. And if you look on the screen, it's beautiful because I can have notes and I can sit there and talk to you and look at you, but the notes on the screen are able for us to read. So it's a really nice feature that we put on there. Joaquin, the technology guy, he figured out how to do that. So it's all really, really professional in my viewpoint. The only thing that's not professional is moi. I've got to get more professional about talking to you, looking at a camera and explaining what we're doing. But there's a lot of fun stuff that I want to share with you. And hopefully you'll want to follow me and see this wild and crazy ride a 70-year-old man's going on. I can't retire. There's no way. I basically have to be active. I've been a small business guy my whole life. I've ran everything from construction companies to air conditioning companies to emergency plumbing companies, restaurants, pool construction business, general contracting. So I have a very large amount of knowledge in small business, brick and mortar type of thing. I have no idea what I'm doing on electronic media. I have no idea about YouTube. I have no idea about all that, but I am going to learn, and I am learning right now, and I am enjoying this journey to be able to communicate with a large swath of the American public and maybe even the world. I've got great friends in Sicily that are subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm just learning now about storytelling. I have stories. I'm a great joke teller. I can basically keep you going in that regard, but from a standpoint of learning the art of storytelling in the podcast studio is something that I'm going to be owning my skills on, and I can't wait to start sharing those stories with you. Now, I had that sample that I knocked this studio off of. Do you want to see that on my phone?
I have it already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if we get up, I had a model that I could use that I basically put on. The backdrop was important to me. So I had a buddy of mine that owns a cabinet shop, and he made this cabinet, but because it was a podcast studio, we couldn't put any glass in it. We didn't want the refraction. So but I put the LED lights in. I can change this backdrop, I think like 12 different colors, which is kind of cool. I actually have this is a carpet for soundproofing on the wall, but I have other carpets that I can lay on here to the backdrop. So example, when I'm standing right here, we could take the cart, move it over in that direction, 90 degrees, and we could basically set the chairs up, and this could be the backstop of another podcast or of a different background. Then we have obviously this one to work with. Oh, there's my book. Don't look down. You got to buy that. Take a look on it on Amazon. It's there now. And then these are batik cloth, and this is an idea that I've used over in different design elements and restaurants and stuff. And what I do is I take the cloth and I ring an LED light around the exterior of it and then backdrop the light. So like as you can see, when the light goes down, and again, I did this idea for non-refraction for the camera. The cloth does not have a mirror image to it, like a glass or whatever it might be. Building a podcast studio, it's kind of like a wild deal. This is like, well, we're in a section of my garage, actually, as you already know if you watch the front of the video. So we basically just put what's called the demising wall in, and we put all the wiring and everything behind the wall so it's open access so we can take care of it. Insulated the ceiling, put some poles across so we can move the lighting and so forth around in it. And we have a basic production studio here that, according to Joaquin, is up in the top notch. You, as viewers and podcast participants, you could judge more than I could on how good of the podcast studio we've actually got here. So maybe in the comments, you could let me know what you think about this podcast studio. We might want to put the figures out on what it was. It was like expensive. I really don't want to put the figures out because if I did, then I'd have to tell my wife what I basically spent on it, and that wouldn't be a good thing, okay? So we're just going to basically go, it was economical. That was basically the price of this place. So when you think about a podcast studio and you think about building one, what actually is it? I was just talking to Joaquin about it, and he just got through verbalizing exactly what it is. This is a playground for storytelling. So my whole life is an interesting journey, so to speak. I wrote a book about it. It got published by Greenleaf Publishing because they thought it was an interesting story. But what's interesting to me in my section of life is people. I love different people's journeys and different life experiences and so forth. So this podcast studio enables me to basically dig in and have these conversations with interesting people. And I meet interesting people in my travel company from all over the world. And bringing those people to you and sharing their experience with you is another reason to build this podcast studio, because sharing individuals' journeys is what podcasting is all about, and telling stories is what podcasting is all about. So I wanted a tool. I wanted something that I could utilize that was professional and gave a good appearance to these stories that I'm going to be telling. I'm fortunate enough to be able to make an investment into making a podcast studio like this, and I hope I'm fortunate enough to gain your viewership and for you to follow me on my podcast. So my name is Bob Campana, 71-year-old guy going into media at this point in time. Why I'm doing it? Who the hell knows?
Okay guys, so here we are, a little bit more about the technical stuff and all the gear, because this is all the exciting stuff. So for audio, we are running the Shure SM7Bs. These are probably some of the best microphones for podcasting out. We have these on some arms, running XLRs to our Rodecaster down there at the bottom. So this is our audio solution for the podcast. We also have a third one just in case. here we have our 3 cameras. These are the Sony ZV-E10s. We have 1, 2, and 3. This is our main camera and our 2 side angles. And the reason we went with those is because they were small, compact. They weren't too expensive, but they essentially do everything that we need, right? We have a HDMI mini running all the way to the ATEM. So when we are running the podcast, we are not physically recording into the cameras. What we're doing is we are streaming them, and then we're taking the stream and recording that. And the ATEM ISO, which is the reason why we went with the ISO, not the regular, is that way we can have every single camera's video feed in its own individual video. And at the end of it, we can take them how we need them, and we can put them together, or we can just run off of the program. When I'm back here manually switching from A, B, C, at the end it's gonna spit out a video for us. This is our control software and our Rodecaster Pro down here. So this really is the star of the show. The ATEM is how we control and switch between the camera angles. And at the end of our podcast, when I'm done switching, whatever our video was in here is going to spit out an already edited podcast for us. So the whole reason that we decided to go with this was that way at the end of the recording we had a final finished video that we could then just upload right to YouTube. So this is an alternative to setting up all 3 cameras, recording on all 3 cameras, then taking all of the SD cards, then taking it into an editing software, and then editing it and cutting it and exporting. With the ATEM, when you're done recording, when you're done with the video, it spits out a video for you with all of the cuts already in there. And the reason we went with the ISO is that way we can have all 3 camera feeds individually recorded, as well as the program monitor. So this guy is really the star of the show, the ATEM Extreme. And if anybody out there is trying to make a podcast, I highly suggest that you guys invest in one of these. And maybe the cameras, you guys could upgrade and get a little bit higher, but these cameras and this has been so much of a lifesaver. We have 2 monitors here, one so I can check, and then one so we can flip it around. That way Bob can have his notes, or he can see the feed, or whatever we need to put up there. And then we also have a 4th feed, so if they ever need to, see like here, if we ever need examples on screen, or if they need notes, we can pull these up. Or if we're showing examples, we can also essentially run an HDMI to the computer, and then this guy right here is gonna stream whatever's happening on this screen onto the podcast. So it's super cool. Once you kind of get past the learning barrier and understanding this program, it's actually very simple, and it's very helpful. It gives us control to do whatever we need. So yeah, this is our final cart setup. All of the wiring, I tried to keep it nice and clean. These modular arms, the reason we got these modular arms was so that way we can adjust them, right? We wanted to be able to move this cart around. And with this, I can just, bam, pop it open. We got a small rig ball head, so we can just quickly adjust, zoom in and out, and leave it there. So yeah, this is basically everything. It's all on this cart, ready to move, ready to go, nice and neat. And it's super exciting stuff what we did here. So,
And then again, we did decide to go with all Aperture and Amaran gear, lighting equipment, for the reason that we have the Sidus app and we can control it all. So it's all controlled via Bluetooth. And this is super cool. What Bob did here is essentially we built our own makeshift grid with just some basic 2x4s and some steel rods, right? And everything lives up top, and they're all mounted with these super clamps. So these are our 2 hair lights, and these are our 2 key lights. And the reason I went with these soft boxes is because we wanted to control the spill. We didn't want it pushing light all over the room. We just wanted it right on the spot that we needed.
Thank you, Bob, for allowing me to build this. It's been an exciting roller coaster, but I'm glad to finally have it all put together now and ready to use it. So super cool stuff.
And I can't wait to share with you my journey that I take in travel, in building restaurants, in constructing a YouTube channel, and putting all of this information together. And a 71-year-old guy, it's crazy that I'm doing this. One of the outcomes that I got out of it that I can't believe is I have 8 grandchildren. When I told my grandkids, the oldest is 12, the youngest is just born, but the 12, 10, 8-year-olds, they all want to do podcasts. I mean, I've got grandchildren. I never would have imagined in a million years. These kids are all excited about doing podcast projects for their school classrooms, for reports, and all of these kind of things. So it's going to be a tool that our family's going to use, I'm going to use, and I'm going to talk to you and hopefully motivate you to get out there and enjoy life. Thanks so much. I'm Bob Campana, and here we go.